Hi, everyone, and welcome to Black in Focus. I'm Karen Toulon here in our Bloomberg World Headquarters here in New York, and I am so pleased to welcome Omar J. Dorsey. You know him as Hollywood from Queen Sugar. Hello, Omar.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. We have so much to talk about. There's Oscar buzz, there's Halloween kills. We have a new project that you're going to be launching, but I really want to start off with Queen Sugar. We're just days away from the debut of season 6, right? And we're hearing Oscar buzz about you because of your amazing performance in season 5, especially talking about mental health. Um, the show had literally ripped up the scrapes last season, and to be very much in the real world with COVID. What excites you about season 6? What is there? Is there are there storylines that you're thinking, wow, man, people are going to love when they see this?
Well, what excites me is we're getting more into my character Hollywood's life outside of Vibe. So Hollywood opens his real spot. That's the one that he had been trying to talk about opening for the last 2 or 3 seasons, and then the last season, we did everything with the pandemic, which was written like in time. So he had to stop his opening, for the place. So this season, now he has his real spot with all the guys in the community. Everybody goes to it's a bar, barbershop, hangout, just all kinds of therapeutic place that all the men can go and visit, and whatever you need, it'll be there. If you need a meal, if you just need an ear, it'll be there for them. So that's one thing that I'm extremely excited about is that people will really get a chance to see that this season.
Even aside from that, which is super important, and the whole pandemic, Queen Sugar's always served up diverse, and I don't mean racially diverse, just in terms of topic, diverse issues. you know Age, orientation, wealth and class, police brutality, even black farms, which is something here at Bloomberg we did a whole series on our Paycheck podcast about the plight of black land ownership. Why is it important to tell these stories? And are these black stories, or are they just the stories of American life? How do you view them?
It's Americana. I mean, when you're talking about the land, the first thing that I think about when I think about Americana is these sweeping shots of just farmland and hearing these horns, like all of these movies that I grew up watching. And these are just American stories. When you talking about family, you're talking about ownership, you're talking about the American dream. I think everyone should be able to relate to that, whether no matter what race you are. It just so happens that we are black, so we do have to. There are different things that we are having to deal with outside of just chasing the American dream. And our American dream may be a little bit harder to get to than the traditional American dream. But at the end of the day, these families and these characters are just trying to get the same thing that everybody else is trying to get. And I'm really glad that our writers show that.
Yeah. And that leads me to something about your career. Your career kind of spans what I'll consider like old Hollywood, where there was like TV and film, and now this bold new world of all of these streaming services, right? And
Right.
and there's so much demand for content. Um, and we're binging. We know that we're binging. I have a great stat here. The streaming industry, the dollar value about $150 billion.
Right.
Box office, around COVID, right before COVID, was around 42 billion, right?
Right.
I mean, so the world that you're in is so much in demand and so central to the creative process. We've got your home on OWN for Queen Sugar, Netflix, Amazon, Disney, Hulu, Stars. Are 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 these streaming services creating just more opportunity? How is that? How have you seen that play out in your career?
With all of those streaming services, what you need is more content, right? So it'll give all of these new content creators, all of these creative people who are writers who the industry and the business just shut out because they had their hand picked, right? But now those handpicked people can't make thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of content. So we need new voices, we need new people. And and what streaming has done is let these new people come to the forefront. There are a lot of tremendous writers who I know, who I've known for years, and they're like, I just needed a break. I needed one little break. They might have been on writer staffs. They might have been just people who've been doing independent projects or been doing web series. And now they have been doing it for so long that they are ready, and then they are prepared. They're equipped to go into a studio and tell them, like, this is what the show that I want to do, and I have 10 hours of I have 50 hours of it, just ready to go. And everybody and the powers that be say, okay, let's see what you got. And the next thing you know, you have something that's massive that and everybody's talking about it and it's buzzing. So the streaming is, and everybody is staying at home right now. And that's one thing that I learned about last year's pandemic was that people stayed at home and people still wanted to be entertained.
Yeah.
So, uh, so therefore, we have to go out and we have to continue to create these stories. So I do hope that the cinema opens back up. The cinema is my love. It's my first love. I remember going to see E.T. when I was a kid, and ever since then, my whole life, I've loved sitting in front of a big, huge screen with popcorn and having the shared experience with a whole bunch of other people. But for the time being, it seems like everybody's watching stuff on demand and watching it at home. So, this is what we need right now.
Yeah. But just when whether it's you or the other creatives that are you just getting a lot of scripts, or are actors getting a lot more work just across the board? Are you hearing that?
I mean, I think so. Yeah. I've been blessed even before this to always, just to go from job to job to job. But I know a lot of people who are from, they're like, oh man, I can't catch a break. I can't get a break. It's so much stuff going on. There's so many different projects. Um, and that's from actors, that's from writers, that's from the makeup people, that's everybody, that's the hair people. There's so many different projects going on at one time. And especially being in Atlanta, you can't throw a stone without seeing a movie sign put up somewhere, like, the yellow signs, like whatever is filming here right now and on this street. They're shooting. So it's the number one, like it's the number one industry on the planet right now. It probably is entertainment. But yeah, you can't walk out the house without seeing something. So everybody is working. It's a blessed time to be in the film and television business. I'll tell you that.
But with all that demand, is compensation keeping up? Are people getting paid? And are people who are funding, who are like the directors, the producers, the showrunners, are there projects getting the backing, the funding that they need based on what you're seeing?
Based on what I'm seeing, yes.
Hmm.
Now, the trick thing is this. I know, like, you want to talk about business, we can talk business.
Mm,
Uh, I know a lot of income may come in from residual income, right?
hmm.
That might not happen as much as as it was before, because nobody is going to the movie theaters and nobody are people are still renting,
Hmm.
but they're renting from whatever streaming device they might have. They might be renting from Disney Plus, or might be
Hmm.
renting from
Hmm.
Amazon. They might be renting from whatever the streaming platform is. But the back end on the box office,
Yes.
that's not looking like it's going to be the same anymore. So you probably get more money up front.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I, yeah, I haven't really lost the. It's getting better and better for me. So that's all I can
So
say.
you have a new project just announced this week on the Stars Network. It's a Power prequel series, right? The
Yes,
Power Book 3, Raising Canaan, and you're going to
correct.
be playing Cartier.
Yes,
Um, that's a very lovely name. And
yes,
apparently
it
he has an
is.
eye for business, and he's also a snazzy dresser. That's what I've heard. That's what people are
Yeah.
saying.
So then, you know what? I have the best names. My characters have the best names. I was Cookie Brown, Hollywood Deschanel, Cartier Farid. These are some of the most interesting and I just love these names. It's like you can wear them on T-shirts, but yeah, it's this guy is he's a whole handful.
And
He's a handful. That's all I'll say. He's a handful. He's a dandy. He
mm,
loves the museum. He loves Shakespeare, and he loves other things.
yeah. Now Rochelle Williams, I think, is the showrunner. Women seem to feature very heavily, right? We have Oprah, we have Ava, right? I understand on Queen Sugar, just a plethora of women directors. Do women bring something different to the set? Do they help you find something in you? I watch a really sweet scene with you with Vi, and it just, do they bring something out in you as an actor that is different?
Certainly. I've told this story before. Before I worked with Ava, I've had one other female director in my life, and I've been in the film business since 1999. I've had one other, and since Ava, I've had 50 or 60 female directors. One thing that they brought up inside of me is sensitivity and looking at it from a whole different perspective and not being so, having so much of a machismo. Uh, this one director, she's a kid too. She's like 28 years old, Sierra Claude. She directed me. She's like my daughter. Actually, she's living in my house right now. I don't know. I think she's directing P Valley, but she's living with. But she directed me last season, and it was a line that I said, that I said very seductively, and she said, "You know what? Say it matter of fact." And I
Mm.
said, "A matter of fact," and I said, "Yo, that makes all the sense in the world." Like I would think I would say it real seductively, like, baby, this, that, and the other, da, 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 instead of just saying, baby, this, that, and the other, and making it very sincere. And I wouldn't have thought about that, but it takes a woman looking out. Even this week when we're doing Raising Canaan, I have a female director, and some of the things that she would say, I was like, because I'm talking to a woman. She was like, yeah, if we talking to me, I'm a woman. I would like to hear it from like this. I said, oh, that makes sense. Thank you for telling me that, because
Huh.
there's a lot of time perspective wasn't there. It was just how men think that women want to be talked to, and how this, that, and the other. It's the same thing about like white writers thinking how black people talk. You know, if you really have the person who's there, who really lives that life, then that's a plus.
That level of authenticity, and you do play a lot of characters, a lot of complex characters in films that deal with kind of the historic American scene, right? So we have When They See Us, Django Unchained, Blindside, Genius, Aretha. You have your upcoming western, The Harder They Fall. um, but I think it's kind of interesting. We only have a couple of minutes that you have, at least in my opinion, you have two film families. You have Queen Sugar, and then you have Halloween. Couldn't be
Right.
too. I mean, that's kind of interesting. And so the
Yeah, it's
next
really, yeah,
Halloween
yeah.
is coming out. So you have the debut of Queen Sugar and the debut of Halloween Kills, both next week. You are reprising your role as Sheriff Barker. Um,
Right.
is Halloween just pure fun? Is it is it important to you that you're not a black actor who plays this, but that you're just an actor, and you've
100%.
got this great
That's my
role?
whole thing. I come from the theater world where I would have played Richard III one month, and the next month I'm doing August Wilson. So what you said, I have two different families. I do have two different families. I have the family at Array, it's Ava, it's all of my people at Queen
Mhm.
Sugar, and then I have my family from Halloween. Those are the people who I did Eastbound and Down with. That's Danny McBride, that's Jody Hill, that's David Gordon Green. So I have, and honestly, it is a boys' club. That's
Mhm.
where I go to have fun and to do the things that are not so serious, but it's really good work. But we
Mhm.
just have a ball when we're working, and we have a ball when we're working on Queen Sugar too. Don't get it twisted.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, it's two different. Those are my two different families. If I would have two different families, if that's what it was,
Mhm.
so yeah, I have a great time with those dudes. I do, and it just so happens that we're doing a horror trilogy right now, and it's it's fun and it's a totally different fan base too. People who know me from Halloween might not necessarily know Queen Sugar, and vice versa. Because there's a lot of people who don't do horror.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really don't do horror until I started getting in it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Hmm. You've been at this profession. You correct me. It's not since you were 13. Even before that, your mom was in the creative fields as well. What role haven't you played yet that you're thinking, man, I would love to dive into that kind of character?
I want to play the president of the United States. I would love to play the president. I would love to play Hannibal.
Hmm. Or
I would love to play a great jazz musician. I would love to play Thelonious Monk. I would love to play Paul Robeson. I would show off some of my opera skills. You know, there's there are a lot of things I would love. I would love to play an astronaut.
and
I love to play. The thing that I really like is Halloween because I get to play the sheriff of a town. That's something that's only a sheriff of a white town. That's really dope. But so just different genres. I would love to really get into science fiction.
mm,
I do like Halloween because it is horror and it's totally different genre than I'm used to playing the comedies and the heavy drama. Would love to do a lot more comedy. I haven't done comedy since Eastbound and Down. I would
mhm.
love to, and people really liked it, and I really love doing it. All the improv, I've done all of that my whole life, so I would love to get back into that. So there are a lot of different things going. It's a lot of stuff. Look, I got another 60, 70 years left on this planet, so we got a lot of things that we have left to do.
Another 67, 60 years, did you say?
60 or 70 years left on this planet, maybe 80. I don't know.
All right, all right. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you think is important to understand? I mean, clearly you enjoyed a variety of roles, and is it because you think it's, aside from the fact that you enjoy it, is it important for the world, for Americans to see someone who looks like you as the president, as an astronaut, as the sheriff, as a psychopath, as a healer, as a husband? Is it important to for people to see you in all of these roles?
It's important. That's true, but it's more. I want to do it, and it's fun to me. It's really fun to play all of these different things because, except for the psychopath, I mean, most of the stuff is inside of me. I just want to bring it out and
Yeah.
have fun doing it and get paid a little bit of money to play. This is what we do when we were kids. We would
Hmm.
play act and do all of this. Now it's funny. When I was on set the other day. I was just being so over the top, and I said I haven't done this on screen in a long time. It was just so over the top, and it was so fun. And I was like, man, and in my mind when I'm saying all of these, weird and crazy things, I was just thinking like, man, they really let me do this for a living. This is fun. So and I do want people to. I want other actors, young actors coming up to see that you can do a variety of different roles. You don't have to get pigeonholed. You don't have to get stuck just being one type of thing. One, just a funny person or just a dramatic or just a gangster or whatever. You can be anything you want to be in this industry, in this craft. You can.
Well, I think that's going to be the final word. Mr. Omar J. Dorsey, Queen Sugar, Halloween Kills, The Power of Three, Raising Canaan. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I wish you well. I think a storm's heading your way in Atlanta, so stay safe.
I hope not.
And we
I
will.
keep running away from it. Thank you so much.
It's been great talking with you. So that's going to do it for this edition for Black in Focus. Next week, we're going to be in the midst of Fashion Week here in New York, Fall Fashion Week, and we're going to talk to Brandis Daniel of Harlem's Fashion Row and Yvonne Janelle of Harlem Fashion Week. So that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be looking at the fashion industry and how folks have been faring during COVID. Until then, for Black in Focus, I'm Karen Toulon. Have a good weekend, everyone.